Hey guys, today we're going to cover Braun et al., a study as part of the memory topic in OCR GCSE psychology. Make sure you share this with anyone who does psychology, but without further ado, let's get into the video. So, Braun's research wanted to explore how advertising can change the way that we remember past events, even creating false memories. So the study centres around something called autobiographical advertising. These are adverts that make us think about our own past. So they hypothesised that autobiographical advertising could lead to manipulating people's memories of their own childhood. That's what they predicted. So how do they do this? Well, the researchers used a lab experiment with an independent measures design, meaning that each participant only saw one type of advertisement. There were two groups. One was the experimental group. The participants saw a Disney advert in this group. Two was the control group. Participants saw a non-Disney advert. We're going to get to that in a minute, so bear with me. The independent variable was the type of advert shown. Were they shown a Disney advert or a non-Disney advert? In this case, the Disney advert was quite emotional. It was meant to trigger an autobiographical memory. The dependent variable was the change of memory of a childhood event, specifically whether they believed that they had shaken hands with a favourite TV character at a theme park. This was measured by comparing their scores on something called the life events inventory before and after seeing the advert that they were given. Now, don't worry too much about what the life event inventory is. You don't need to know the ins and outs of it. It's basically just a big questionnaire asking all sorts of questions about their life events. Now, the interesting thing is that Braun didn't really care about their answers to all the questions. They only cared about the answer to one question. And the question said, have you ever met and shaken hands with a favourite TV character at a theme park? Now, if everything's a bit confusing so far, bear with me. I'm going to go through it step by step. So what did they do? Well, they took 107 undergraduate students, they're university students, from a Midwestern university in America. All of them were American. So what did they do? Well, in week one, participants filled out this life events inventory, a set of questions all about their childhood events. But as I've said, there's only one question that matters. Have you ever met and shaken hands with a favourite TV character at a theme park? They had to rate this on a scale of 1 to 100, 100 being it definitely happened, 0 being it definitely did not happen. If I was to give you similar questions, you'd find that a lot of these would end up on a bit of a scale. If I was to ask you if you've ever eaten ice cream on a beach, you might put it at 100 if you definitely did it, but if it was something you did when you were like 7, 8 years old, you might have a vague memory, but it might not be quite there. So you might put it as 30 or 40 or 50. Anyway, that's it for week one. In week 2, participants were then invited back into the lab environment to watch either the Disney or the non-Disney advert, depending on which group they were in. After watching the advert, they wrote about how it made them feel and their attitudes towards the advert. And then, and this is really important, they were asked to complete the life events inventory again. Now, in the real study, this was done quite smoothly. The experimenters came into the room, they pretended that something had gone horribly wrong and that they had lost the life events inventory from week 1 and they needed to do it again. Why did they do this? Well, it was in order to avoid demand characteristics. This is when participants would be able to predict what the point of the study was. I mean, let's think about it. If they've just watched a Disney advert and then they get asked questions about Disney, it would be quite obvious what the purpose of the study is. So, to fight demand characteristics even more, they came up with some distractor tasks. These are just small distraction tasks given between questionnaires in order to try and throw the participants off. Now, why would they get them to do the life events inventory again? Now remember, the purpose of the study is to figure out if we could alter someone's memory using an autobiographical advert. So now that we've shown them a Disney advert, is their recollection of childhood events different? What do I mean by that? Well, let's say in week 1, participant A said that they were 40 out of 100 sure that they had met and shaken hands with a favourite TV character at a theme park. Now, in week 2, let's say participant A then went and watched the Disney advert, and then they were asked to do the life events inventory again. Now, if Braun's hypothesis is correct, we should find that those participants would increase their scores, going from 40 to, I don't know, let's say 60. I've completely made those numbers up, but it's just to show you and demonstrate what the purpose of the study is. If, after watching the Disney advert, the numbers went up, then it supports the hypothesis, because it means that just by watching a Disney advert, we've manipulated their memories into believing that something might have happened, when really it hasn't. So, what kind of findings do we have? Well, the key finding is pretty incredible, and you do need to remember these. Out of the 46 people who saw the Disney advert, 30 of them, or 65%, started talking about memories of Disney World. Now, even those who had never ever been there began to imagine themselves visiting the park. And secondly, we come on to what I think is an incredible statistic is that 90% of participants who were in that Disney advert condition were more confident that they had actually shaken hands with a theme character at a theme park, specifically Mickey Mouse. Now, just to compare, that other control group, only 47% of the control group showed the same increase in confidence. That means there's a huge impact that Disney advert had on these specific participants, therefore suggesting that autobiographical advertising doesn't just remind people about their past, but it can actually change what they believe happened, supporting Braun's hypothesis. Now, Braun et al. Has 2 studies, and the second study is pretty much the same as the first one, with just a little twist. In study 2, they actually had 3 conditions. In group 1, they received an advert suggesting that they had shaken hands with Bugs Bunny at Disneyland, which couldn't have happened because Bugs Bunny is a Warner Brothers character, not a Disney character. In group 2, they received an advert suggesting that they had shaken hands with Ariel, the Little Mermaid. Now, this couldn't have happened because she had not been introduced as a Disney character when they were under the age of 10 years old, meaning that was impossible too. Now, group 3 were the control group. They got a non-autobiographical, normal, informational Disney advert. We had 167 participants, again, all from a Midwestern university, all undergraduate psychology students, and then the rest of the procedure from experiment 1 was pretty much identical. Week 1 was the life events inventory, week 2 was the adverts, followed by the life events inventory, followed by distractor tasks. And what did they find? Well, all groups increased their confidence that they had shaken hands with a cartoon character, but the increases were higher with the 2 autobiographical conditions. So in the Ariel condition, it was 76%, in the Bugs Bunny condition, it was 78%. So what can Braun conclude from the research? Well, autobiographical advertising can make people more confident that they've experienced things that were suggested in adverts as a child, therefore influencing the past and affecting their memories. And as always with our studies in GCSE psychology, we've got to make sure we know our criticisms. So let me give you at least 2 or 3 solid criticisms to take away for Braun's study. And this applies to both study 1 and study 2. So you could say that it suffers from culture bias. This means that all participants were from America, and this means that we can't generalize to other places around the world. Another criticism is what we call low ecological validity. This means that the research was done in quite a fake, artificial setting. We're testing memory using adverts and questionnaires. It doesn't seem very realistic. Finally, it could be argued to also be age bias. All the participants were undergraduate university students, and so we don't have the range of ages that we'd like in order to be able to properly make generalizations. And with that, it's time for the most important part of the video, the exam zone. This is the part where we get to apply the stuff we've learned to a real exam question. I'm going to give you a few seconds to answer the question that's on screen, so pause the video and give it a go. I'm going to put the answers on the screen now. And look at this, 3 answers for the price of 1. Don't say I don't give you guys anything. Double check your answers, see how close you got. And if you think you're an expert, then scan the QR code to play a free Block-It game to test your knowledge on memory. I've got tons of videos across all of OCR GCSE psychology, so take a look at the channel for more. Otherwise, I'll see you guys in the next one.